Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
I love the nurses that come and see me.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible.
Since I learned about Angel Care, I would recommend them to anybody.
Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Hello and welcome again to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching. Thanks as always to the producer of our series, editor, and the guy behind the camera, Jeff Durall. We're at the Hayes Regional Airport with airport manager Ovid Seifers as we talk about the new implementation from SkyWest Airways on the early morning flight. Let's begin, if we could, with flight times here at the regional airport, Ovid.
The Monday through Friday flight leaves approximately 6:40, 6:50 a.m. To Denver, and on Saturday it leaves at 10:15 a.m. to Denver. All of our flights go to Denver from here. All are nonstop. The arrival flights Monday through Friday are approximately 5 p.m. in the afternoon and 9:57 p.m. in the evening. And then on Saturday it arrives at 5:15 p.m. and they all remain overnight. The last flight of the day is the first flight out in the morning, so that aircraft remains overnight at Hayes.
The one that stands out is that 10:15 Saturday morning departure time, a little different from the other 6 days of the week.
Yes, that's not totally unusual. Saturday's a slower day of the airlines. There's a lot of flights they don't run on Saturday. They normally run on Monday through Friday, so kind of gets you time to catch up on the system, the crew rest issues, and the aircraft scheduling. You know, they do some of their maintenance on Saturday, so they juggle aircraft around a little bit. That gives them a little flexibility also.
Tell us about boarding numbers.
Boarding numbers have been going up for the last 3 or 4 months, steadily the whole year, but pronounced in the last 3 or 4 months. We're up to about 8,300 approximately boardings for 2016. That should hold pretty firm. We think 2017 will be a considerable improvement in that number with the flight change to 6:40 a.m. in the morning. Makes better bank connections at Denver, gets you to the West Coast very easily, really by noon their time anywhere from Seattle to San Diego. So that would be a great enhancement. So theoretically you leave Hayes and you get to Denver almost the same time you left here. So
A lot of people have been pushing for that for quite a while, Ovid.
yes, they have, and that's why it gives you much more access and cuts down a lot on the layovers. If you go too late, you miss those big bank flights, as they call them, and sometimes you have 3, 4, 5-hour layovers when you miss those, and those are obviously not encouraging to sit in an airport 3 or 4 or 5 hours scheduled. It may happen due to weather delays or things, but going into it, that's a long time.
Well, and hopefully now the business community will step forward supporting that early morning flight to keep those numbers up so the FAA will keep that subsidy going.
The essential air service is obviously essential to Hayes. It's essential to Salina. It's essential to Garden City and many other communities throughout the U.S. But in West Kansas, it's definitely essential to those 3 locations. And that's pretty much a program that was initiated back when deregulation started in the 1970s. And it's really kind of controlled by Congress, whether that would continue, because they vote on that, of course. And that essential air service always comes up for scrutiny anytime you have an administration change or a house change. It's just a kind of an open target. It does need probably a little modification here and there from what it started in the 70s, but it's a good program, puts a lot of the less populated area with access to the world. In our case, you could go to Denver and fly nonstop to Tokyo from Denver or London or Frankfurt and all kinds of locations in Mexico. So it gives you a one-stop connection to a long ways out in the world. And of course, many, many places in the U.S. then are one-stop. So.
Well, this early morning flight has been kind of a brand new thing as of the first of the year here, so you probably haven't had a whole lot of feedback yet from business people, but you have seen an uptick in boarding numbers then.
The response, I sit out in the waiting area a lot and just kind of listen to comments that are made, and that's the number one comment, that the morning flight came back. That is the by far number one subject discussed there.
Now, about those numbers again, 8,300 so far in 2016, kind of an unofficial tally, I guess. FAA comes out with their own official tally later on then. What do we need for numbers to be able to continue that subsidy situation?
Well, the numbers, the subsidy is based on a couple, three different factors. One, what does the cost per enplanement for that subsidy to remain in effect at a given airport? Mm-hmm. And the higher the number, the more scrutiny you will get in terms of per passenger cost. When you reach the $1,000 subsidy per passenger, that program goes away for you. That's what happened to Great Bend. It's happened to Alamosa, Colorado, happened to Cortez, Colorado, many other smaller places, because it's just doesn't meet the criteria anymore, and I think all of us have to agree $1,000 subsidy per passenger for maybe 3 or 4 passengers a day maybe this doesn't make real sense. But
you were former manager of the Eagle County Airport. What brought you to Hayes?
Hayes, the area. Grew up in Wilson. Wife is from Wilson. And puts us closer to KC to see daughter and grandkids, and somewhat closer to Minneapolis. That's a bit of a drive. We usually fly that one, Denver to Minneapolis, from Hayes, I might add.
Well, of course. How many grandchildren?
4, 2 grandsons and 2 granddaughters, and
As close as KC then?
yes.
Well, that's good.
Yes, we lived in KC for almost 36 years.
What about that Eagle Airport? A little bit different situation there when you were managing Eagle?
Yes, Eagle's a very seasonal airport, as most mountain ski type areas are. They have probably 90% of their traffic occurs between theoretically mid-December and Easter, whenever that is. The later Easter it is, the better it is for them. But after Easter, you have more seats in the Hayes than you have there till June, when they start summer service to Dallas-Fort Worth. So there's about 4 to almost 5 months a year that you actually have more inbound seats to Hayes than Eagle does. Now, obviously, that changes in the winter. They get about 200,000 boardings or enplanements a year there. Now, that's been down some in recent years, but that's general guideline. Aspen, 25 miles away, as a crow flies, does about 235,000. But Aspen and Vail are considerably different in their culture and who goes to where. But they both have the seasonal fluctuations up and down big time. So they run 757 aircraft down to the CRJ as you have here. So it's very similar. Obviously, it snows more there. It doesn't snow as much as people think. You get about 5 to 6 feet there a year on average, but most of them are nuisance snows, as I call them, 1, 2, 3 inch type, which may occur 2 or 3 times a day occasionally. But you can go nonstop to New York, Miami, Dallas-Fort Worth, Chicago, LA, every day in the winter.
Told you it was a small world, because my son flies out of Eagle on a regular basis to many of those locations in his work. So certainly a situation where it's a nice connectivity, if you will, something that hopefully SkyWest and our early flight here will be able to achieve as well for the Hayes Regional. So can you compare and contrast? You talked a little bit about this, Ovid, about the Hayes Regional and the Eagle Airport. Some similarities, some differences perhaps?
Well, similarities, SkyWest serves Eagle to Denver only from Eagle. They also fly the CRJ regional jet. And they kind of have the same time schedule. They have an early morning departure to Denver, and then their arrival in the evening is a little sooner. It's 8 o'clock, but part of that's because of where they're at, different time zone, of course. And in proximity, Denver is only 105 air miles, roughly. So it makes a little difference. SkyWest actually has fewer flights into Denver a lot of the season than you do here. So that's a little dissimilar, but obviously that counteracts itself in winter. But it has the same thing. People like to drive to Denver partially because it gives them more possibilities. Mountain flying or mountain locations have obviously more weather issues by far. So it gives them a broader range. And of course, Denver's become a big tourist pass-through location, both by air and driving. So that's one difference. But the mindset is that it's cheaper to drive to Denver. Well, when you figure everything in and 2 mountain passes that create quite an obstacle, one of them 11,000 feet and another one 10,600, and it creates a lot of difficulty. And then, of course, Denver has its own weather problems frequently too, which every airport does.
And traffic problems too,
Yes.
as most of us well
Yes.
know. Improvements for 2017, Ovid, here at the airport. Now, the runway resurface is complete, right?
That is complete.
What are we looking for in 2017?
2017, we have 2 projects. One probably has gotten the most attention, at least from the news media, and just chit-chat about towns. The wildlife fence that will be installed around the runway taxiway area out there. That should commence by late summer and be completed by late 2017. That will give you a 10-foot fence all the way around the apron, the runways and taxiways and associated areas with those areas called safety areas. So
Federal dollars coming in.
federal
to help with
dollars
that.
will be 90% and Hayes will be 10%, as they call matching funds. I mean, they're not dollar for dollar, but Hayes has to put in 10% for that project to happen. And it's much needed, there's no question about it.
Something else on the agenda?
Taxiway area over amongst the general aviation hangars will be rebuilt. It's got a lot of ups and downs in it. It's nothing serious, but it's tired, it's old, it needs some shot in the arm booster, and that's what it's going to get.
Finally, in our last minute or so, got to ask you if you don't mind about Ovid. The one that comes to mind is the Roman poet. Now, is that where we're going here?
That's the most prominent Ovid recognition. Well, I'm certainly not a poet.
Other than grandfather, right?
Grandfather's middle name was Ovid. There are also 2 towns I know of by the name of Ovid. One of them's in New York and one's in extreme northeast Colorado. Up there on the Nebraska border area called Ovid, a very small area, but there is one. And there's an occasional person you see with Ovid as a name, but it's rare.
Well, and we also, that last name of Seifers has a ring to it from folks who had dealings with the K-State Ag Research Center.
Yes, my brother Dallas was a plant pathologist over there for about 35 years, and he retired a couple years back. So he's been in the Hayes a long time and will continue to stay here. He's not leaving.
Well, we hope you're not leaving either.
I don't have any intention.
Very good. Ovid, thank you for the time, and welcome to you and the family here at the Hayes Regional Airport. The airport manager at the regional airport, Ovid Seifers, our community connection.
Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
My Angel Care physical therapist taught me how to do exercises safely.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible.
It gives us independence in our home.
Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.